Welcome to Craft and Crashouts with your co-hosts Mick and Ari. We are both writers trying to become traditionally published, and on this podcast, we meet every week to discuss craft, progress, and what we are currently crashing out about. How was your Valentine's Day? You saw Wuthering Heights?
Saw Wuthering Heights. I did. I had just like a really nice day. Like just
Yay.
out and about, went to the movies, and just like then I like worked on my book. And then I like watched 5 episodes of Love Island, and it was like the perfect day.
Okay, so you're watching the season with Rob?
I'm watching season 5, which is the season before, because I've heard crazy things about that season.
Wow.
And then I'm gonna watch season 6.
When you watch season 6,
yeah,
I need you to update me.
I will.
With
but
your
like,
live
Mick,
reactions.
It's
like,
been a week and I've watched 30 episodes already.
Unfortunately, that's what reality TV can do to you.
What is this?
I don't know, because like
it is. And I also know how
horrible.
ridiculous it is, but I'm so entertained. I'm just deeply entertained.
Do you see what I mean, though, by why reality TV can make you a better writer? In terms of, you know, we might not want to write characters like the people on reality TV, but
like we might.
We might. I also just think it's fun because, like, we are judging people, you know, and I do try to look at people on reality TV sometimes, like, how they're acting on the show does not define who they are all the time because it's a pressure cooker situation. But I love playing like devil's advocate for all their bad behavior because it makes me think more about, like, why would someone do that? Why would you do that? And sometimes the answer is like, you're a shitty person, and that's okay. But sometimes I can.
But like a lot of them are just like
them.
Deeply insecure too. And so
insecure. Yes.
But the craziest part that I love thinking about is like they know they're on television, so they're as censored as they will like ever be, and they're like trying to be as like good as possible. And then like shit still hits the fan, and then they're trying to like save face. Like that to me is like the most interesting wrinkle in all of it is like they know they're being watched, and they know there's like public perception of them too.
I even started watching Love is Blind. Unfortunately, I love that show. And as much as it tortures me, I will watch it every season.
It's so entertaining.
It's the Ohio season. So I was extra intrigued.
This one?
People are
I did not know that.
They didn't go to Cleveland. They went to Columbus, and it's like a lot of Columbus and Cincinnati, which is fine. But very interesting already because I was thinking about that when watching an episode yesterday because someone in the pods like goes to this guy and she's about to break up with him, and you can tell he realizes it. And so when she says like, I hate to do this, but this is what I'm going to do, his answer, you could tell this was not what he was going to say. But he's like, that's so funny. I was going to do the same thing for you today. That's what I was going to do today. Yeah, no. And then he does the thing because he's trying to like not have a freak out. And he's like, no, yeah, like it makes sense. Like you and I just weren't connecting, right? Like you felt that, right? Right? Like there was no spark, right? There was none of this. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's crashing out and trying to pretend like he saw that coming and he anticipated it and he was on the same page. And then he went and he proposed to the other girl. And so I know that's going to fall apart because you watched him in real time because you can see his facial expressions too. And you can see him be like, yeah, okay, me too. Me too, actually. You didn't hurt me at all because me too. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be so bad.
It's
crazy.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch, truly. Also, the one thing that I find so entertaining is like, it's also like, this is for Love Island, I think, especially less so for Love is Blind, is like, it's one giant game of telephone because it's like, one person will have a conversation and then they'll go relay that information from that conversation to somebody else. And then you'll see what tidbits they took from that conversation, which like I think are actually very different from what was trying to be communicated. And so it's just fascinating.
No, it's truly fascinating. And like, if you watch more seasons, you'll see too that, like, I don't know, social groups form.
Yes.
People connect with people like on a friend level more than the others, and that can affect everything. Like, it's
Yeah.
wild. That's why I love watching reality TV. I know it's probably not good for my brain, but I like to view it as an anthropologist or a
Yeah.
sociologist. I am
That's where I'm at.
studying human beings at our craziest, and I want to understand. I want to understand.
That's
That's
where
all.
I'm at, truly. Mm.
For
I
sure.
do think it is making me want to write less because I'm like, I just want to go. I just want to go watch Love Island.
No, it's bad. It is
But
addictive.
I've been balancing it. Okay. I think we'll see. I think I'll finish the season, watch the next one, and then I might have to call it quits because it might be just like, or to like take a break at least.
So I've tried to
Yeah.
restrict when I can watch reality TV. Like, for me now, it can be a treat after a very long and grueling day, or I put it on with my headphones and my laptop while I'm doing housework. And it becomes my treat into doing housework. Like, I'm cleaning the bathroom, I'm cleaning the kitchen, but I'm watching an episode of Love Island, you know?
That's great. No, that's really good.
Do you want to start? Do you want to tell us what you're reading this week?
Sure, I shall. Okay, so I started another series as we discussed last time. I'm reading
Insanity. I simply could never.
I know. I'm reading The Will of the Many by James Islington. And I'm about like 150 pages in. This is like a beast. I think it's like 600 something, 650 pages. She's chunky. I feel like I'm gonna get my head chopped off for saying this because I feel like so many people love this book that I like feel weird.
Say the controversial thing
about saying the controversial. Is like this is Star Wars. This is Red Rising. This is a lot of things we've seen before. And so in so many ways, it just feels like very derivative. I hate to say it because so many people love it. I hate to say it.
That's the reason I've been avoiding it. Because I read the description and it seems like Red Rising to me. Like, too much like Red Rising, and I love Red Rising so much.
So, okay, so this is like, listen, I'm a diehard Reddit fan. I will trust Reddit with so many things. And Reddit brought me to The Raven Scholar, which I like thoroughly enjoyed. And Reddit also brought me to this book. And just like rave reviews. And so I was like, Reddit will not steer me wrong. And it's not a bad book. I don't want to say it's not, it's probably like going to be a 3 out of 5, maybe even a 4 out of 5. Like, and it's also picking up a little bit, like the deeper I get into it, and I'm going to finish it. Like, this is not a DNF in any capacity, but, I think I was just expecting to be wowed a little bit more, especially just like hearing what so many people were saying, like just hearing what I heard about it, you know?
Yeah. I think that speaks to, again, the subjectivity of books, though.
I know.
And I do think some people have a higher capacity to read similar work on a repetitive basis than others. And I find it really hard, which is why I'm such a mood reader sometimes. Like, I have to switch up what I'm reading all the time, or I do then find the like next book that's like a little too similar boring.
And it's also, the thing is what sucks is like I hate even calling a book derivative because it's like, what is derivative? What does that mean? And there are so many books that I'm sure that I like that other people can call derivative, and like there are some tropes that just like work and like will continue to work time and time again, and like that's okay. I hate even calling something derivative because I feel like I've written things that are definitely derivative. And I've also enjoyed things that are definitely derivative. And some of those tropes like will always work and will continue to work. I don't know if it's just like maybe it's the timing or just like the mood, like exactly like you were saying, it's just like the mood that I was in maybe just like wasn't 100% going to jive with it. And I feel like there's so much space left for the story to surprise me. But that's where I'm at with the will of the many.
That's fair. I think it could definitely be the mood, but I think also, yeah, I think a lot of things can be classified as derivative and they can
Yeah,
hit or they don't. And
I
that's
know.
okay.
Yeah.
You said that you've written things derivative, and I was like, oh my God, that's like what I've been crashing out about.
Have you this week?
Yes. Yes.
Juicy. I am so excited to get into that.
Juicy. Because it is subjective. Okay, but that's good to know with like the will of the many.
Yeah.
That's why I've kind of avoided it because I don't know. It feels very Red Rising-y, and I really like dystopian fiction, but
Yeah.
dystopian and romance are like the two genres that for me I need you to break the conventional standards
I
for me to
know.
dive into it. And maybe it's because I grew up on rom-com movies and we grew up in
Mm,
the dystopian boom. You and
yeah.
I, like all of my books I read as a teen were dystopian fiction for the most part,
Yeah.
like all the main series or paranormal romance. So I feel like for those genres, I need you to break the norms a bit
Mm.
for me to be wowed.
Because you're like, if you're so well versed in it, like you know what the expectations are. And sometimes, like, you do want to be surprised, like, you do want to be caught off guard. And yeah, 100%, I hear you. Yeah, I'm so curious why you're crashing out about why you feel like what you're writing is derivative. I'll,
Uh,
I'll, I'll save that. I'll bank that question
yeah.
for
Mm-hmm.
our
Mm-hmm.
next question. But for now, tell me what you're reading this week.
Yes. So what's so funny, because I just said this, I was like, things need to wow me in the dystopian genre. And we grew up in dystopian fiction. So I've been in a reading slump. And I think it's just because, again, I pendulum swing. If I'm
Yeah.
reading a lot, I'm not writing a ton. And if I'm writing a ton, I'm not reading a lot. And it just really depends. Also, hold on. I'm sorry. I have to text my husband to get my cat. Can you
With,
hear him?
is that Mochi?
Yeah. If there's a closed door, he's pissed. He's
Like,
pissed.
how
He's a
dare
prince.
you? How
Yeah,
dare you
he's a
get
little
in my
prince.
path? Yeah.
And if we're behind the closed door, I mean betrayal.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. He feels like the most neglected cat in the world, which he's not. But yeah, so I've been in a bit of a reading slump. So I've only been on like my nighttime book. Remember, I had
Yeah.
like a daytime book. And then my nighttime books are usually either just like easier reads in my opinion, or books I've already read before that I'm like wanting to reread. And so yeah,
Mm.
I'm on the second book of the Hunger Games.
Oh, right. I completely forgot that you were rereading The Hunger Games.
Yeah, but it goes slowly because
Yeah.
that's the point of like the nighttime book is like I usually pick things I've already read or I know well, or again they don't take that much brain power to read. So honestly, I
Mm.
do like reading like YA or middle grade sometimes at
Yeah.
night because it's just easier to process, and it's mostly YA or middle grade that I've read already, because then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I don't have to stay up all night reading this because I know what's going to happen.
I
And
know.
then I fall asleep really fast. So I inch my way through these books so
Hmm.
slowly. But what I found really interesting, I have not read The Hunger Games since I was a teenager. Like, since
Yeah.
when did these books come out, actually? Maybe they came out before I
I
was a
have
teen.
no.
Hunger Games. Oh, of course, you search it and it's only the movies. Okay, yeah. So the first book came out when I was in eighth grade, but then
Mm.
Catching Fire and Mockingjay was when I went into high school. So I have not read them since then. I wanted to reread the trilogy because I haven't read her two other books that she came out with. I
Mm.
never read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes or Sunrise on the Reaping.
Mm.
So since Sunrise on the Reaping came out, I was like, okay, I'd actually love to reread The Hunger Games, especially with an adult lens and
Mm.
this current political climate lens and just thinking about the book. What's so funny though, from a writing perspective, actually, from Catching Fire, that I love is that is so much better than the first one, writing
Is
wise.
it? Really?
And
Like
what's
line
funny,
level or
yes,
ah,
yes.
okay. Yeah.
On a line level, it
Interesting.
is just written so much better. And what's funny is if you look up any interviews by Suzanne Collins, because she's done very few for the Hunger Games, she feels like it's her worst because they rushed it out because the
Hmm.
Hunger Games did so well. And I remember loving the second book the most as a teen. And reading it now, I'm like, her line level is, I mean, it is like night and day different.
Yeah.
Like you can tell like the first one definitely is at more of the like a younger reading level. And the
Mm.
second one not only amps up the reading level, but again on a line level, the interiority is way better, way more subtext, way more nuance. I'm like, wow, how
Hmm.
that's also amazing to know that in that short period of time, because I know from this one interview that she wrote these pretty close together because the publishing doesn't change, I guess. They force you to get books out when
Yeah.
it, is successful. And so she felt really pressured by the deadlines, but good to know that you can still, I don't know, improve your work.
That's so interesting. I mean, it's also so funny how like an author's perception of the book can vary so drastically from like your reader experience. If it's like that's the book that she feels like the least confident in, but you're like, oh yeah, no, like it's vastly improved, especially at the line level. Like that's pretty cool.
I know. What more could you ask for as a writer?
I know. Truly, truly very cool. And I am glad. I also really do understand the need for like a cozy nighttime book because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like also when you dig into a good book and you haven't read it before, it's like there's like the suspense element of like what's gonna happen. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. That like will not necessarily like let you sleep easily. So like I really
Right. Or I'll stay
understand.
up
Yeah,
until like 2 a.m. because I want to know. And so
exactly.
that's, I have to like, yeah, get rid of that. So that's why
Mm,
rereading things, I mean, like I read through like the Percy Jackson series, it's like middle
yeah.
grade, younger high school reads for me that I read when I was a child that I've been rereading through because
Mm,
I know it's going to happen. But it's been really fun to like reread them as adults too.
yeah. That's what me and my husband, we went through this period where we were just like having a really hard time falling asleep. And so we would just like put on the Harry Potter audiobook to fall
Mm-hmm.
asleep too. And we just like did that every night. We would listen to like a chapter of Harry Potter and then like both of us would just like pass out because it's like so comforting.
And those
Yeah.
audiobooks, I don't remember the name of the guy who reads them, but
Oh my
it
God, they're
is very
incredible.
nostalgic. It's incredible. His voice is incredible. When you can get a good audiobook narrator,
Let me find the
amazing.
name because it's gonna bother me.
No, yeah, I already did Harry Potter. So, and that took me years. Because again,
Yeah.
it took me like a year per book.
Jim Dale.
Because that, yes, Jim Dale.
Jim
Yeah, it
Dale.
would take me like a year per book because I'd inch so slowly. And I think with Harry Potter too, as a child, I mean, I would reread Harry Potter all the times, and I really know
Yes.
what's going to happen in that book. So my brain instantly just like shut off. I'd read two
Mm.
pages, and my brain would go, "Good night. We already know this."
Yes, exactly. But that's
It
why
was
it
really
was so
helpful.
good to fall asleep to. And then like whatever we would have like fallen asleep to, we would like go back a couple minutes before.
Yeah.
So like to the part where we remember listening to. So it's like one step forward, two steps back. Like we would
Uh
keep
huh.
going forward then
Mm hmm.
backwards.
Mm hmm.
Why do you feel like you're in a reading slump? Like, is it just nothing is catching your eye?
I mean, this
Nothing
is
seems
me
like
always
interesting.
as a reader. Like,
Yeah.
I am just like a mood reader to a T. Like,
Yeah.
I will open 100 books and figure out which
Mm.
one speaks to me. But yeah, it really is. There's a balancing act of like writing. I just feel like I've been writing a lot more in the last few weeks than prior, which is exciting. But that means yeah, like my daytime reading time is
Is cut a
devoted to
little
the
bit.
book. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like thinking about the book, and then I'll just read at night mostly. And yeah, I don't know. It is like a pendulum that swings, and I'd like to find a better balance of it because I do miss reading so voraciously. And I'd like to find the balance of like reading while I'm writing, but it is really hard. I don't know.
You know, like maybe you don't. Like maybe you just like
Yeah,
go with the flow. Like the periods where you're reading more, maybe you're just like reading less and all of that stuff like will equilibrate and like it'll be fine.
true.
You know, I feel like that happens with a lot of authors where they like read
Mm,
less when they're writing. I think also
mm-hmm.
because of osmosis, like you sometimes wind up putting things into your writing from what you're reading that you don't necessarily like intend to. And so maybe you're also in like a weird protective way, like trying to also protect your writing from
100%.
reading something that is going to influence it in a way that you don't necessarily want to.
And it's not even ideas. I really do feel like sometimes like my voice can change.
Yeah.
And I try really hard. That's actually one part of my writing I actually find is very strong is I feel like I know my authorial voice
Mm.
and I really try to like cultivate it and protect it.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I'm reading too much when I'm writing, I can feel it shift because I'm like I'm taking in other people's voiciness and subconsciously emulating that, which is why I do, and I think you do too. You've mentioned it. Like, I do have those like three authors that I reference in their books, and I will read like a paragraph or a chapter before writing sometimes because I do try to emulate their
Yeah.
voice on a line level. So that's the
100%.
hard part for me when I feel I'm like, ooh, this chapter does not sound like me.
So amazing that you feel like you have a good grasp on your voice. Like, I feel like that is one of the
Mm.
hardest things to get a handle on.
Because it's like an amorphous
Yeah.
thing. It's like even
Yeah.
hard to describe or define. The
Yeah.
voice, it's what makes, an a Mikayla book a Mikayla book. It's what makes
Yeah.
an Ari book. That's like really
Yeah.
what voice is. I try to hang on to it as much as I can.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, subconsciously, consciously, like, it's fine. Like, if you're reading a
Mm-hmm.
little less because you're writing more, it's fine. You're
Right.
honing in on your voice. Beautiful. We love it.
So what are you working on this week?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. What am I working on? Okay. So I finished all of sequence one. Um, and I have
Yay.
been chunking out, yes, yay. I'm very bad at
Yay.
celebrating little wins.
Yay. Yay. In a
Yay.
demanding voice.
Um, and for anybody who doesn't know, I went through this whole process in draft two where I felt like writing in acts was like too big a chunk and too overwhelming. So I broke all of my acts into sequences. So instead of having 4 acts, I have like 8 sequences now. And so I've been very mindfully trying to be like, you're just trying to make this sequence as polished as you possibly can. And that has actually
Right.
been very helpful in helping me feel like not as overwhelmed because it's like it's just 4 chapters. Like it's just X amount of chapters, X amount of scenes. It's usually for me, it's like anywhere between like 6 to 8 scenes per sequence. And so I finished sequence one. Sequence one is really hard because it's the first chapter, which just like kills me every
Is
time.
a nightmare.
Kills me every time. So
It's somehow a nightmare, but also then becomes like the best piece of the book, which
I
becomes
know.
frustrating because you
I
spend so much
know.
time on it.
Because you agonize, because you like
You
know how important it
agonize.
is. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Um, so I, so that is basically like about 13,000 words, which I think is like about spot on for the amount of word count. So like I have a tracker, I'm color coding, I'm tracking word counts. I honestly love my spreadsheet. It's helping so much just like get a handle on like what is
Yeah.
where, what
That's
word
nice.
count is what scene does what. So I printed it out. And when I tell you, I red inked those pages up Like they are just all red, like all red. But I will say, I think there's a lot of comfort because I'm not doing any developmental edits. I'm just doing like mostly character work for this pass. Like all of the scenes are staying the same to some degree. And there's like a lot of comfort in that. Like, okay, like I just need to tweak a couple things here and there. And they're nowhere near where I want them to be yet. And I'm finding a bunch of points where the characterization is inconsistent. And so, like, I'm trying to go in and like change certain things to make the characterization consistent. But like, yeah, the sequence is just like taking me a really long time. I think primarily because of just like that first scene. And I'm like trying so hard to get that first scene right. And it's actually taking me a lifetime. And like, I feel like also, do you know the concept of like spoons? Like, you only have so many spoons in a day.
Yes.
Okay. So I like haven't been feeling so great. And so like I've been having to be like very mindful of like how
Mhm.
many spoons I have that day. And some days I have quite literally like 0 spoons left for my writing because it's like I'm taking all of my energy and my willpower to just like do my actual job. And so I'm trying to be like really gentle with myself and like really kind with myself of just like, it'll get done. It's
Yeah.
okay. Like, step by step. If you can think about it for 15 minutes today, like that's great. If you can't, that's also fine.
Mhm.
But I feel like I want to get it done. I want to move forward, but like I also like need to work within my capabilities right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to always be aware of that too.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the writing to turn into something that you resent. Or
No.
that's like what leads to burnout because you don't have the mental capacity for it and you're
Yeah.
trying to fit it in and then it just becomes too much. So that's great that you're aware of it. It
Yeah.
also sounds like you have an amazing spreadsheet that you're following.
I'm obsessed with my spreadsheet.
So wait, what's on like what are all the things on the spreadsheet?
Let me tell you. Hold on.
Please share it
Let
with
me
the
pull it
class.
up. Okay. So I designed it. It's not that complicated. It's just a spreadsheet with 10 columns. And it's 10 columns by like all 4 scenes. So first column is act, second column is sequence, third column is like how many words are in the sequence. And then I'll have like overarching notes for like what I need the sequence to do. And then I'll just like have it broken up by chapter and then even finer broken up by scene. And then in my favorite column is my status column, which is my color coded column, which is either green, orange, yellow, or red. Green means it's done. Orange means it's almost done. Orange means it's almost done. Yellow means it's almost done. Red means it's nowhere near done. And then I have the word count for that scene, the summary for that scene, and then like any notes. And the notes, like I'll usually write up when I'm like in the middle of writing it up and like drafting it up where I'm like, I feel like this is missing this. It's kind of like what you were doing with like your brackets where you were like self
Yeah.
therapizing yourself for it's like what I feel like this scene is missing so that when I go back in later, I can see if that feels like it was accurate and like if I need to beef it up still. But I'm obsessed with my spreadsheet.
So I always wonder this. So okay, you printed it out too and you're
Yeah.
marking things up. How were you referencing those sheets and then versus the spreadsheet and like vice versa? Like did you do the marking up portion first and then you're kind of summarizing all those thoughts in the spreadsheet? And then how are you utilizing these resources when you go to actually edit the scene?
So I feel like when I'm drafting, I'll go to the spreadsheet. So like most of the spreadsheet doesn't actually change except for like the word count
Mm.
and the notes. Like those are the
Okay.
only 2 columns that change and like the color. But like, yeah, the color,
Oh,
the
so
word
you're
count,
like
the notes.
working on it
Yeah.
continuously, the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I'm
Okay.
drafting, I'm working on this. I fill out the spreadsheet when I'm done with the sequence. Like, or if I'm done with the scene, I'll put in the
Mm.
word count for the scene and then I'll put in any notes where I'm like, I feel like this is really lacking accurate characterization. I feel like this is really lacking setting description. Like, I'll write all that stuff in the notes and then I'll print everything out. I'll like mark it all up. And then I'm going to go back in, edit those, and then change up the word count, the coloring, and then like any other notes. I'll like do like notes passes column where like I'll have multiple notes column for it's like notes first pass of this sequence, notes second pass of this sequence or something like that. But like most of the columns aren't changing. But
Okay.
the spreadsheet is like living, breathing, getting updated as I update my Scrivener
Mm-hmm.
document.
Mm-hmm. And then when you take notes, how do I want to word this? How do you then go, I guess,
Yeah.
tackle a scene? Like, are you looking at the scene as a whole, or are you like, I'm going to take this paragraph by paragraph and like work through the red lines, and like the red marks that I've made? Like, do you even chunk down the scene further, or are you thinking of it
Yeah.
as one whole scene?
This is such a good question. For my first scene, because I'm being a psychopath about it, like I'm literally going like line by line.
Mm-hmm.
I have what I have now, but I think what I'm going to go in and like redraft is like actually like paragraph by paragraph the way that I want it to flow. Like I think I might even do like bracket, like interiority here, bracket world building here, bracket like setting here, like just to try to like make sure I'm hitting the beats where I want them to, because it's like I feel like for the first scene, like you have to balance so much. You have to balance character, you have to balance
Yeah.
world building, you have to balance action, and like I'm getting so overwhelmed by it. So I feel like whatever I can do to create as detailed of like a roadmap that I can to just feel like less overwhelmed by writing it is really helpful.
Yeah.
But like I am just like very overwhelmed by it. And I like don't 100% know like how I want to do it. But that's kind of what I've been doing right now is like there are parts that I like and then parts that I've marked up where I'm like, this isn't working. Like we need to like reorient, rework. And I think I'm just gonna like have to like map things out. For the other scenes, I think that they're a little bit more work done because I had to write scene one from scratch for this
Mm-hmm.
draft.
That's true.
Whereas like the other scenes, they're just remnants from the prior draft. So like I think they need a little bit less work, but like they're still like I still need to work on characterization and like motivation, I think a little bit. And so trying to figure out like where that fits into. But like I feel like most of the heavy lifting for the sequence is scene one. And it's just always kicks my ass. Always.
Scene one is, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
scared because there's like a lot wrong with my current scene one, but I actually like,
I've
I
read
get so
it. It's
attached.
great. I love
Right. I
your scene
get that.
one.
That's the problem is I work so hard on scene one, even in early drafts. I get
Yeah,
so attached to the
I know.
writing, but I know it needs to change. Okay,
I
so that's
know.
interesting. I'm always wondering like how do people, because again, everything is so different. The process is so different. Editing is just such a different beast than drafting, and I feel like the branching of how everyone tackles it just starts to get even further and further apart because
Yeah.
everyone can mark things up, but everyone's
How do
marking
you
up
actually
different
implement?
things. How do you
Yeah.
implement this?
Yeah.
And I'm always curious. And I'm sure to like newer writers out there, because
Mm.
people don't really talk. I don't feel like people talk that in depth about it as much.
Also, like the order matters. So I feel like when I
Mm-hmm.
do write up everything, like there's line level details, there's like paragraph level details, and then there's like major structural level details for like what needs to change in the scene to make it work better. And I
Yeah.
feel like I line level paragraph, it's like I'll write it there, but like at the top or at the bottom of the pages, like if it's like a bigger structural thing that I feel like is not working, like I'll denote it there. And I feel like when I do work in edits, like I work from big to small because
Same.
yeah, like cuz for me, like I don't think it necessarily makes sense to like work on making a line really really pretty if that line gets cut. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like let's make sure this like major building block of the scene is there, and then like if that line is still there, then like I'll work on those notes. So I guess like when we're like actually thinking about like implementation, like that's kind of the order. It's like major structural details of the scene, making sure the character, the motivation, like tension is kind of there. And I'm not honestly like I was like, oh, like I'll work on character and line level for this pass. Like I think I just need to work on character. Like I don't
Yeah,
even think this is going to be a line level
that's enough.
polish.
Yeah.
And honestly, like I might send it to betas without even doing like a line level polish.
I think you can absolutely send it to betas without a line level polish because,
Yeah.
at least for me, I also think of it from major to small. And I always think of it like a Russian doll. Like you
Yes.
have to work on the outer one before you can even get close to the inside. That's how I like
Mm.
visualize the edits. But at least for me, I will definitely be sending it to betas before a line level polish because nothing would make me spiral more than doing a full line level polish and getting
Yes.
a shit ton of notes from my betas. I would collapse. I'd
No.
much rather do
Same.
the developmental and like the scene work and then pass it off to people when it's like book shaped and let everyone know too. Like this was not line level edited. So, you know, just so everyone
Exactly.
knows. You can give me line level notes, but just I want you to know that I know that it's not their line level. And then
Yeah.
after that, yeah, cuz I think that would make me go insane if I worked really hard because the line level editing I think is the hardest and
Yeah.
I would lose it if
Yes.
then it came back with a ton of
100%.
notes to change things.
100%. I'm so with you. And I also have like been given the advice to like not do a line level polish, to like purposefully not do a line level polish because sometimes if your line level is really nice, it'll mask larger issues with the book that like beta readers
Oh,
might not necessarily see because it's like
that's true.
polished at the line level. And that was a point that was like really interesting that I had never thought about because I was always like, I want to make it as good as it possibly can before it gets to betas. But I thought that was an interesting point of like sometimes you don't want necessarily like your line level to get in the way of like some of the major story beats, like scene level dynamics and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'll do this pass. I think the one thing that I am struggling with is like, okay, if I'm not going to work on line level though, like I think I still like there's still a component of like you still need to work on like paragraph flow though, like for the scene to
Mm,
function properly. And so like I feel like that's like a difficult boundary almost. It's like
yeah.
you want your scene mechanics to work, which means like your paragraphs do have to flow in an intuitive way. And that, in a sense, like is line level, you know? So, like, there's just really murky boundaries there, I think.
See, but I guess for me line level is like I'm the person who I will copy a line and paste it. At least that's what I've
Yeah.
done in the past. I've not done line level editing in years, mind you. But when I did it on my
Yeah.
last project, I would copy the line and paste it on a separate empty sheet of paper and pull my hair out until it sounded nice and then put it back and
Oh
did
my
that with every
God.
sentence. Like I would, because
Wait.
like for me, it's like the verbiage. Like, am I using the right word here?
Yes.
Is this actually,
100%.
which is like to me one of the most
Boing.
tooth pulling, agonizing part of writing is like, is this even the right word? Because I have a habit of thinking I know the definition of a word. And then I look it up and I'm like, okay, I see what you were meaning here, Mikayla, but that doesn't mean what you think it means. And so
I
having to
just
choose
had
the
like
right word,
Princess Bride pop in my head. I was like, I do not think that means what you think it means.
I do not think that means what you think it means. Yeah, that is me. So yeah, line level for me is like truly prose
Yeah.
when I get to like that small of an edit. Because you're right, because you do a lot of like the restructuring and making sure
Mm.
everything works together in prior edits.
But like there is so much. First, I love that technique. Like I love that idea of just like copy and pasting it into like a different document and then just like
Mm-hmm.
agonizing over words because No, I love it. I actually genuinely love it because
It's torture, but it is fun. I mean, you're like, how can I make this prettier? How can I make this a better sounding sentence? Because you can write
Yeah.
the same thing you could say something a million different ways.
But also like that is part of the like unique nature of writing is like every word is a
Mm-hmm.
building block. And
Yep.
sometimes you can get really lost in the sauce when it's just like a bunch of
Yes.
words. And so like being
Yep.
able to separate it out and being like super intentional with what words you're actually choosing because like there's so much intricacy, so much nuance, so much subtext and meaning we assign to words that we don't even
Mm-hmm.
consciously recognize so much of the time that like being able to separate it out and be like super mindful of the words that you're choosing like that's part of the art, right? Like, and I love that idea. I'm gonna steal it from you.
You should. It's pretty fun. Yeah. Editing is so fun. I
It's so
can't wait to
fun.
be there. She
Yeah.
stares wistfully off into the distance.
So tell me about what you've been working on. Sigh.
I've been writing a lot. I still think famous last words. Every time I say, "Ah, I'm on track to hit my deadline," I don't. But I really do think I am this time, I promise. I
Mick,
think I'm on track
the
to
only
finish by my
track that
birthday.
oh slay. That's in like under 2 weeks, babe.
I know I'm scared. But I think I
The
am on
only
track.
track that matters is the track that ultimately gets you there. Like honestly,
I
like who
know.
cares about schedule? Who cares about deadline? You're showing up every day and that's the battle.
do.
Me.
That's the problem.
Okay, so you are under 2 weeks
No.
away from potentially finishing this book?
Potentially.
Potentially?
Potentially.
Okay.
Yes. I'm nearing the end, and I think that's why I've been crashing out, because don't you always just crash out near the end?
I would just like to make a note here. I would just like to make a note here about how you called me insane for having the craziest crash out after I finished draft 2. And
Yeah, of course I did.
the crash out when you near the end of a book, insane. I'm with you. I understand
It
you.
is. It's
It's
all
tough out
insane.
there.
It's all insane. Because what's funny is like we really do start crashing out at like the times where we should be excited. That's why I called it insane. Because
Because
it's funny.
well, it is. It's
Because it's
hilarious.
crazy. Because it's
Also,
like,
like, I
yay,
had to call it out
you finished
because
something and you're freaking out. That's insane. Yay, Mikayla, you're getting close to finishing something and you're freaking out. That's insane.
mhm,
Yeah, we just all get scared. We're all
we get so
scared.
scared.
And I'm
Yeah.
scared. And so I'm racing towards the end. Scared. I'm very scared.
That's
I
just the
don't think
name
I'm
of this
pulling off.
episode. It's just
I'm
scared,
scared.
but instead of R's, it's just W's.
It's a W. I'm scared. Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah, I
Well,
know
what
I'm
are you
not
scared
landing.
of?
I'm not
Let's
landing the plane
dig into this. What are you
correctly.
afraid of, Mick?
I know I'm not landing. I'm not doing the ending justice, but I think, I mean, I was talking to you about this prior. I think it is because like this draft one is pretty rough and there's so many things that need to be tied up at the end that aren't on the page. And I know that. And it doesn't
Mm,
matter, but it's just
yeah.
the fact that I know that it's not on the page that it starts to like stress me out that things aren't tying up neatly. Obviously, like there's a lot of emotional payoff that is going to be a big load to take on when I'm in editing that I know it's going to happen. It's just me knowing how much work this is going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's
And
why it always takes me years, apparently, to get through draft one, because I am thinking of like the future product instead of just being in the now. And again, wanting it to be as like good as it can be in the now, but my view of that is skewed because I think it's supposed to be like great and amazing and everything comes together neatly in a bow and everything's on paper. That's just not the
yeah,
case.
I
So, and I
know.
just have to keep reminding myself that because I had such a good breakthrough with that recently,
Yeah, you
but
did.
it's just because it's coming to the end. And I think
Yeah.
it's also like it's more structural, like because I've been, I've been stressing out about this end. It was going to be 2 books just a month ago, and now it's back to one. And I think it is more at a structural or scene level of me trying to, like, what is the best sequence of events? What is the best actions
Yeah.
my characters need to take in order for all of this to make sense? And that's why I do think the ending is derivative a little, because I just don't have the right actions in place. And I think I'm borrowing from some tropes that I don't want to be in there right now, like the last couple
Mm.
chapters. But it's okay. We're still persevering. We're still writing this way. I think I'm still on track to
Okay, I'm
finish.
gonna stop you there because wow,
So
gold
yeah.
mine of questions that I have. Okay, we're gonna talk about the derivative stuff, but I want to talk about first is what you were saying about how you want it to be like more put together than it is. But I also will say, like, you've been drafting this book a while and you've not read it in its entirety yet. And so, like, you don't necessarily, like, you're crafting an idea for what you think the book is out of your memory instead of like reading the draft fully. Do you know what I mean? From front to back. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's just like an important reminder is like, let your writing, let all the work that you've done surprise you when it's actually time for the read through because you're not
Mm-hmm.
there yet. And it's really easy
Mm-hmm.
to be like, but I wrote it. Like, I know you learned so much during that read through after you finish that draft. And
Yeah.
like, you will wind up surprising yourself in like maybe ways that you didn't expect, but like, I guarantee you will surprise yourself in one capacity or another. And I feel like there is just like so much fear that comes with like finishing a draft because
Mm-hmm.
it's this constant. We were joking about Doodle Bob.
Oh my God. Yes. I am Doodle
Um,
Bob.
but like that's the hard part of writing is like you have this book in your head that is
Yes.
SpongeBob fully incarnate. Like he's got his tie, he's got his
He's three
sponge hole.
dimensional.
He's 3D, he's glowing. And then sometimes, oftentimes, most of the time, you feel like your draft is Doodle Bob.
My draft has never been more Doodle Bob than it is right now. I mean, and I think of the moment when Doodle Bob takes the pencil over his head and is like, no, 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 that standing there like, oh, did I just make this?
Yeah.
That's, and I actually, I mean, that's why I love, I love finishing a draft and I love
Yeah.
reading through. And this might sound, I don't know, bad because we're supposed to be humble.
Are
And
we?
I do think lowly of my writing. I just want to preface, but I do like
Nick.
reading back my work because those are the moments where I'm like, okay,
Oh, she cooked.
maybe I did something here. Maybe this
Mm-hmm.
is pretty okay. And I know there are great nuggets in this book. It's just,
I've seen them. I know they're
I
there.
know.
Okay.
Thank you. That's very nice. I just, it's more the structural stuff I think at the ending right now where I
Yeah.
know, because I also have 8 sequences. You and I have like actually structured
Oh.
our books very similarly because I used like the movie
Yeah.
writing like method. So I
Yeah.
have like 4 acts, 8 sequences, and what's in them kind of varies. Yeah, I the last sequence and a half, probably
Mm.
the half of sequence 7 and definitely sequence 8. I'm like, this structurally is not what should be
It's
happening.
okay.
And I think that's where I just have to make sure I can land it for this draft, which is what I'm just trying to do. I'm just trying to make sure, like, okay, at least the building blocks have to be on the page. Like, I know it's not going to be 100%
Mm.
correct, but I'm even having a hard time figuring out what the building block should be. So that's where I'm having just like kind of those
Mm.
crash outs. But then the normal crash outs, where of course, like, we're getting towards the end. So
Yeah.
I'm over here like, maybe I just never write ever again, you know?
Maybe I just give up on this forever.
Maybe I just burn it and
Okay,
never write another book, you know? So there's
I'm
like days
I know
like
you're
that.
lying, so I'm not even gonna entertain.
No, I'm serious. There are moments where I'm like, so maybe I can't write and maybe you
No, no,
don't
no.
ever write again.
Sorry. I'm saying those feelings are very valid, but I don't think you're ever going to quit writing. That's what I
No,
mean.
I can't do that. No, we said, no, you asked me this the other day. You were like, would you stop writing even if it was horrible? And I said, no, I
No.
just wouldn't tell anybody I was writing a book.
Yeah. That's how you know you really love it. It's when you're like, this is
Yes.
torture, but I will not abandon this. I also want to say a couple things. I feel like you've been saying like you don't know if you know how to land this plane for your last act. If it's only a sequence and a half, that's only like 20% of the book. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to be horrible or anything, but I'm saying that even if it's not exactly right on this draft one, that's only such a small percentage of the book that's maybe a little bit off. Do you know what I mean? And like, I feel like we put so much pressure on act one and like act three or act four, whatever act structure you wind up using, the beginning and the end, because it's like those bookends are really important. Sometimes the end gets informed later and like, that's okay. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like, you're going to do the best job that you can. And like, you're working really hard on it. But like, that is also what comes with editing. If you didn't land the plane 100% correctly, it's not a real plane, so it's not going to burn up in flames. It's fine. You can rewind, re-land the plane with editing,
Right.
you know?
And I
And
know
like,
that draft two will be like, I'm going to be fully rewriting this whole thing
I
in
love a
draft
full
two
rewrite. Mm, yes.
because it's going to be very like a lot of structural, like scene level stuff needs to happen. Like, again, I'm going to be going from one, well, kind of four POVs in this draft to like four true POVs in the
Yeah.
second draft and a first person to third person switch, and so many changes will happen that it'll
Mm,
be needed for like a full rewrite. So I know that the majority of all the words I'm writing aren't going to stay, and that's fine. It is just more I'm agonizing over the choices that should be made.
mm.
But honestly, yeah, as we get to the end, there are some scenes where I'm like, you know what? I'm a bracket this and we're moving
Sometimes you just
on.
need to like put something down so that you can come
Yeah.
back later and see what needs to be there. Like, I am such a
Yeah.
huge supporter of that. Like, sometimes you
Yeah.
just need to move on so you can see it better in hindsight.
Well, I don't want to stop the momentum because I have been barreling faster and faster toward the end, that like
Mm.
any scene that causes me too much anguish, I'm just bracketing and I just,
Good.
brain dump everything I think about this scene, and that's what will be printed and we move on.
I love
But
it. But it is
yeah.
so hard because I feel like it's a constant. Like, part of the reason why I love this podcast is because I feel like we really help each other work through it. But it
Mhm.
is a constant cycle of like crashing out and trying to like gentle parent yourself into telling yourself it's
Oh
all
my
going
god,
to be
so
okay.
much gentle
And you
parenting.
just need to like keep going. Like,
It
it's
is
just, it's so hard.
wild.
'Cause it always crops up. And the frustrating
Mhm.
part is like, it is your own brain that's
Yeah.
getting in your way.
Yeah.
But like, you're doing it. You're doing it.
We're doing it.
And let's discuss why you think it's derivative now.
Yeah. I mean,
Where's that?
it's
Yeah.
because I'm not confident in the structure of it, right? I'm not confident
Mm,
in, and this again just goes back to like how you view your own story, but I'm
mm.
not even confident that my plot, one, makes sense, two, is interesting, three,
I always know
connects
right
in any
before you
way.
do that little chuckle. Yeah, it does
I know,
because I
but
know the story, but I understand the
do
feeling.
I? So that's, and so I think that's what's making me also feel like it's derivative, because I think what I'm having happen at the end, I just don't want it to come off as cliche,
Okay, that's fair.
you know?
That's so
And
fair.
and that's why I'm like, ooh, yeah. is this cliche? It could be. Right now, it could very well be cliche.
I mean, from what I know about the ending, I don't think it is, but
I don't
I
remember what
understand the
I told
fears.
people.
I don't, do you want me to
You
say it and
remember?
we can bleep this out?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, originally you had,
Yes. So, okay. Yes. So,
but now you have it so
right. But is it cheesy to have this whole like,
what way though? I also feel like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I think cheesiness level does really come down to like how you execute on the scene and the line
yeah,
level.
that's true.
Like, I
That's
actually
true.
don't think the major structural beats of the story sound cheesy at all. Like, they
Okay.
sound very much like dominoes cascading, and it's like, okay, this has to happen, this has to happen.
Okay. I think it's like, so I know what should happen. It's the connective
You,
tissue though.
yeah.
It's
It
like
sounds like you know
minutia.
exactly what needs to happen. It's just like, how are you going to break it down in smaller chunks? Like, how are you going
Okay,
to break it
well,
down into smaller
fine.
chunks to make that happen? So
Yes.
basically, scene sequence 8 is not blank. There's actually a bunch of stuff, and it
I mean,
sounds really good.
yeah,
I'm really excited.
thanks. But yeah, those are my crash outs. It's just because I'm ending it. It's just because it's the ending. Okay, so maybe I should fill these in then, I guess, if they're not blank, but they feel blank. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we're fine.
We're fine. You're doing great, sweetie.
So we're fine. Okay, let's move on to our friend Jen's crash out.
Okay, we
Yes.
ready?
Yes.
Hello, friends. This is Jen coming to you hot with my crash out. But first, I want to gush a little bit about how much I love what y'all are doing. You are so relatable, so funny, so supportive, and I look forward to listening to your podcast every week. Cannot thank you enough for putting this out there. And now it is time for my crash out. So, very recently, I made the decision to shelve my whip that I have been working on for years. In my head, it feels like 3 years. Maybe it's been less. Time doesn't exist for me anymore. But either way, it was a labor of love and it was my first attempt at a novel. But I just knew that it was going to take way too much work to get it to work. And I needed to take a step back and step away. I learned so much from the experience, but it does suck that I just wasn't able to finish it. But anyway, I'm at peace with it, but I can still crash out about it. However, although I'm really excited to jump into this next project, part of me is still kind of worried that this might happen again, where there are mitigating factors this time around where I am only getting older and I have less and less energy every year. And on top of that, I now need to commute 3 times a week. And each way, it's 1 hour and 15 minutes, 1 hour and a half each way through LA traffic. I have less time, I have less energy, and I just have more and more responsibilities at work. And in the past, I have had to walk away from my side hustle, my side business, because work just became all consuming. And so it's wiggling around in the back of my mind. I do feel like because I've simplified my plot for the next story so much and I'm taking all the lessons I've learned from the first time around, I'm hoping things are good, but who knows? Anyway, thank you for listening to my crash out. Thank you again for all that you do. And for everyone listening, I wish you the very best with your writing and your personal endeavors. And let this be a year of Zen for all of us. Bye.
Jen, we love
Jen,
you.
we love you. That was so sweet and so relatable. And
So
if you aren't
relatable.
watching, our jaws dropped when you said your commute
Yes.
time. Just so
Hour and a
you are aware.
half?
Hour and a half is crazy.
Girl,
That's
9 hours a
crazy.
week.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I am so sorry. That is so much. First of all, thank you for the kind words. And thank you
Yes.
so much for listening. And thank you so much for sending a voice note. I feel like it is really
Yes.
scary to put yourself out there and to send a voice note, but like, we love getting them. We love getting
We
them so
do.
much. Yeah.
And it makes us feel less alone because I
Yeah.
relate to a lot of what you were crashing out about. So just know you're valid and not alone. Not alone.
Yeah. 100%. And I think also to the point of like you spent 3 years working on a manuscript and it didn't necessarily come to fruition in the way that you had wanted it to. I'm a very firm believer that like every single book teaches you what it needs to teach you. And
Yeah.
I think making a decision to shelve a manuscript after working on it for so many years is like very mature and very healthy of you. And I am proud of you for doing that because that is really hard. It is like really, really hard to do. But you learned, I'm sure, so much from that manuscript. And I feel
Yeah.
like from the sounds of it, I don't want to like assume too much, but it sounds like a little bit like you're worried that you're going to work on a book for another few years and like maybe you won't finish it and maybe life will get in the way
Yeah.
and all that stuff, which is like so valid. Like being a working adult, having like so much time and energy and resources to like even focus on a book. But that being said, even the shelved manuscript that you have, like, sure, it's done for right now, but like, if you ever wanted to go revisit it, like, you can
Yes.
always revisit
You
it.
can
Like, there
always pick
are,
it back up.
right, like, there are no rules. There are no rules. Like, if you want to work on this new manuscript for 2 years, and if you feel like, again, like, it's not good enough, like, you can always shelve it. But you know what? Like maybe you can also put it in front of other people and have other people tell you what they think because you could also be working on this book and the problems are not necessarily as glaring as you might think that they are. And I wouldn't let not finishing that manuscript make you concerned about this new one because like the only way you're ever not going to finish it is if you just like give up completely. You're like, I'm never going to write again. And from the sounds of things, it sounds like you really enjoy it and you have a plotted book. And even if it takes you years and years, like it takes you years and years, it takes years and years to write a book, you know? And that's hard and it takes a lot of time and energy. But like, if you love it, like we're cheering you on.
Yeah. I think this comes back to what Ari talks a lot about is remembering your why. Because I know Jen is a corporate baddie. And so I think when you are managing, like you already said, you're managing this career that is giving you a lot more responsibility. You have a longer commute, side hustles are happening for you, and writing is also happening. That's a lot on your plate. And I think making sure you're 100% on your why will allow you to not just hold steadfast, but also to make peace with the fact that this could take a while. Because I, like you, start to freak out when I'm not quote unquote finishing something, right? Because our society puts so much pressure on productivity and has us thinking of all this stuff as checklists. And so you're not like, it's all of us going on to the next step, on to the next step, on to the next step. And it can feel like wasted time. Again, more air quotes, because that's what society makes us feel like. Because since that shelved book didn't become a published book, our brain can subconsciously all of a sudden go, well, that was wasted time. But like you said, you already know, like you learned so much. I'm also a firm believer, and our friend Becca says this all the time on their, like her own podcast, that no word written is like a wrong word. Like all the words you write are important, whether it's being used or not, because it's only going to make you a better writer. So when I've shelved a million projects, I know how hard and how personal that decision is. And I think Ari was spot on. That's a mature view because there are definitely moments where you're like, okay, I'm going to need to shelve this because sometimes it takes way longer than we think. Like an idea, at least for me, has to like sit in the crock pot of my brain
Yeah.
for quite some time. Like it's got to go in the cooker, like in the pressure cooker for quite some time before it can come out as an actualized plot that I feel confident I can execute. So I think it's always a personal and emotional decision when you make the decision to shelve a project. But I think just staying firm in your why and making sure the why isn't attached to productivity. Like, I mean, I've had to do this in the last year. Like, I've had to move my why from being really heavily into the I want to be a published author bucket because it's only gonna bring me stress. It was only stressing me out watching everybody else like get closer and closer to that goal. You're playing the comparison game when everyone has completely different life circumstances attached to them in their writing. And I don't know if I'm making sense. I feel like I'm
Oh my God,
rambling
girl.
on, but
No, everything you're saying, I'm like, yes, absolutely spot on.
it's just, yeah, I just feel like I used to definitely have my why in the I want to be a published author bucket because since I was a kid, I've always wanted to be a published author. But now being an adult, I'm like, oh, okay, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Not just personally and, growing your skills, but also statistically.
Yes.
A lot harder than I thought
100%.
it would be. And it's not a guaranteed thing. And yeah, I think switching the why to just having the love be like for the actual act of writing and like the written word as like a medium of art and being my main creative outlet has helped me not stress about the timelines as much.
That was so beautifully said. So beautifully said. 100%. Couldn't agree more. I think kind of goes back to a conversation we had many episodes ago where I talked about that like garden analogy where it's like this woman has this like beautiful garden. If the only people that'll see it are like her family and her friends, and like that's good enough. And it's like find your why. And I also think one of the beautiful things about storytelling and writing is yes, you'll get really good at writing your books, but all of the skills that you practice also wind up bleeding into other arenas of your life. And so like, you're talking about like Jen, you're talking about like your professional career, like practicing writing, practicing storytelling, all of those things are so important for like every single career path.
Yeah.
And so if you ever feel like it's wasted time just because, let's say, like that shelved book is shelved, like again, you learn skills from it. And even if those books don't hit the shelves, like you've learned skills from it in your professional career, in your personal life. And I think also thinking about why is this story important for you to tell? Like, why do you feel so strongly about it? What do you think makes it unique and special? That's usually what I like dig down into sometimes if I'm feeling lost with a story, because I think it's interesting because I think there's a why when it comes to writing, but there's also a why for like a particular story. So there's like, why am I showing up for the practice of writing every day? But it's also like, why do I feel so strongly about that story? So I think exactly like what Mick said, finding your why for your writing practice, also finding your why for like the specific manuscript that you're working on. And sometimes you also just need to like be really stubborn and be like, I just sometimes really need to like take a break and like realize what my capacity is. But also sometimes it's like, I believe really strongly in this. And so I'm not going to let it go. And it's like hard to remind yourself of that sometimes. But I do think it can be like a guiding compass a lot of the time.
And I love that garden analogy. I think of it often after that conversation we had, but also, Jen, going into the commuting situation, because I'm still like, I can't believe that's your commute. I'm so sorry. Wow, I'm so sorry. But that definitely means like, okay, maybe you can't write every day, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, you have, and Ari mentioned it earlier this episode too, with you only have so many spoons in the drawer. And if you're using a lot of them because you are having to commute and you have to work this, draining job, and then you're coming home exhausted, you don't have the mental capacity to write, totally fine. It seems like maybe you need to figure out the moments when you can write. Maybe it's only once a week, maybe it's twice a week, but trying to figure out when you can write and thinking about your writing, dare I say, in my head, is writing and important. So maybe if like those really busy weeks, all you can do is like work through problems in your head on your commute, that is a win. That's a win.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to take the wins where we can. And maybe it's
100%.
like 20 minutes at your desk during a down moment because you thought so much on the way there to work and you're able to sneak in 20 minutes on your personal computer. Or what I used to do when I did a corporate job, I used to just email myself.
I love emailing myself.
If you
Or
can't bring
if you're
like a personal
driving,
computer.
just send yourself a voice note.
Exactly. Recording yourself talking about it. You could
Yeah.
also, depending on how good your speaker is, honestly, in your car, you could also like dictate just thoughts and just have it be writing in a note on your phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So trying
All
to like
great
find
ideas.
those, like little moments, those little wins that make you feel like you're making progress. Because I know it can be hard on our brains when we're so wired for productivity in today's, capitalistic forward society. And then we're working towards something, and that's where writing can start to feel really hard. I talk about this with my husband a lot, where I'm like, the goalposts are so far away. There's so much more time where you're not even seeing a goalpost. You are that far away from a
100%.
goalpost. So it's trying to kind of find those little wins where you can.
100%.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks for the kind words. Thanks for listening. That's so
Good
nice.
luck. You'll have to let us know
Yes.
how it goes. And if
Yes,
you do
keep us
find,
updated.
like if you find a good writing routine, like maybe it's once a week, maybe you like heavily romanticize like a coffee shop on a weekend and like that's your writing time.
Yes.
Beautiful, amazing. But also like prioritize rest because that's also really important.
It is very important for the writing process, for sure.
Yeah. All right. I think we'll wrap up this episode with that. And if you are crashing out, oh my God, I'm choking. And if you are crashing out, please send us a voice note at Craft and Crashouts on Instagram.
Yes.
Or you can message me on Discord or on Instagram. You can, whatever. Just
wherever you can find us, you can send us a note.
We love hearing people crash out. We love giving you support. And thank you so much for watching.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks for listening to Craft and Crashouts, a weekly podcast by Ari and Mick. If you liked this episode, be sure to follow along wherever you are listening to stay up to date for the next one. If you want to submit your crash out for the show, DM us at Craft and Crashouts on Instagram or email us at craftandcrashouts@gmail.com. Feel free to send us a voice note in either format. We'll talk to you next week with more craft talk and definitely more crash outs.